Life is a series of beautiful constructions, some built with concrete and steel, like the blueprints Daniel, the architect, drafted in his glass-walled office, bathed in soft morning light. Others, with the patient devotion Clara, the teacher, gave to her students each day, filling their minds with stories and wonder. They had built a perfect life together, a sun-drenched, book-filled home where love felt unshakable, where their future seemed written in stone. They were Daniel and Clara, two certainties in a world full of maybes. They were ready. The only thing missing was the cornerstone, the tiny pair of shoes, the silent crib waiting patiently in the spare room, draped in soft blue and cream, colors of anticipation, of hope that had already begun to fade before it even arrived. For them, having a child was not a dream. It was a destiny, a natural next chapter. They had checked every box. They had earned this happiness, or so they believed. But every month brought the same cruel silence. Hope, once bright and golden, became a wound that reopened with clockwork precision. The diagnosis came on a bright summer day, sterile and cold, unexplained infertility. They could design empires, but their bodies refused to build a family. What followed was not a single tragedy, but a relentless cycle, a brutal rhythm of procedures, injections, and fragile hope that shattered monthly. The money vanished. The hope became a hollow word echoing in empty rooms. The spare room, once filled with possibility, became a tomb of silence. They stopped looking at each other the same way. What was once love transformed into something brittle and aching. Daniel retreated into his work, finding solace in the cold logic of steel and glass. Emotions he could control, structures that would not betray him. He was there physically, but absent in every way that mattered. Clara walked through their home like a ghost, avoiding the spare room, hearing its silence as an unbearable scream only she could hear. The empty crib became a third presence in their marriage, the uninvited guest at every dinner table. The innocent questions from friends cut like knives. When are you going to start a family? Their smiles, their obliviousness, their fertile lives, all of it became torture. Clara learned to lie perfectly. Daniel learned to disappear into projects that meant nothing. But even in their solitude, there was an observer, silent and steadfast. In the shadows of the city, between the steel towers and the grey streets, an immense familiar figure walked. The giant Jesus, hands calloused from centuries of witnessing human suffering, watched Daniel drive away from yet another clinic, hollow-eyed. He stood beyond Clara's window on sleepless nights, a presence she could not see but somehow felt. He was not there to condemn their despair. He was there as a fellow mourner, a silent witness to the sacrifice and love buried beneath the pain. One night, after their final treatment failed, something in Clara broke entirely. She shattered a vase against the kitchen wall, not in rage but in the desperate scream of a woman who had failed the most basic promise to herself. Daniel, hearing the crash, felt something inside him die. "It's not my fault," he screamed back, and the words were wrecking balls, demolishing the years of tenderness. That night they slept apart for the first time. The house, once a temple of love, had become a hollow museum of what they could not have. The breaking point arrived on a grey afternoon. Daniel received a frantic call. "Your wife has been admitted to the hospital." She had suffered a complete nervous breakdown, her body and mind finally surrendering to the unbearable weight of accumulated grief. He found her in the hospital bed, small and fragile beneath white sheets, silent tears tracking endlessly down her face. In that moment, Daniel understood. It was not their bodies that had failed. It was their ability to hold hope. Their core was shattered. That night, unable to sleep in the hospital's terrible waiting room chairs, Daniel found himself on the roof of the hospital building. The city sprawled below him in indifferent lights. He pulled off his wedding ring and held it between his fingers, watching how it caught the light. He thought of simply walking away, disappearing into the city below, ending the cycle of pain they were trapped in. The precipice was very real, and it was there, at the absolute edge of ruin, that the divine presence manifested. Not in thunder or spectacle, but in pure, quiet light. Over the cold horizon where the city met the indifferent sky, Daniel saw him. The giant Jesus, impossibly immense yet gentle. His form was backlit by a golden light, creating a silhouette of overwhelming proportions, while his face, etched with both sorrow and unconditional love, looked not at the city, but at the hospital, at Daniel. The divine gaze was not judgmental, it was recognition. I see your suffering. But more than his presence, Daniel felt a knowing, not a voice but a pure understanding that filled every cell of his being. I see what you have built, not structures of glass and steel, but something far greater, a love that remains when everything else fails, a love that is willing to transform, to sacrifice everything for another soul. The giant Jesus extended his enormous hand, palm open, not to seize, but to point. His gesture directed Daniel's gaze toward Clara's hospital window below. It was an invitation, a choice, a mirror showing Daniel that the true miracle was not in the pregnancy test. It was in the love he still carried, even when broken. Daniel crumbled on that rooftop. The armor of control shattered. Grief and anger dissolved into a single, wrenching sob, the kind that breaks you open and remakes you in a single moment. He returned to Clara's room not as a failed architect, but as a husband. He took her hand and wept with her, not with words of comfort, but with the raw truth. I will never leave you alone again. I choose you. I choose us. I choose to grieve with you, not against you. They made a daily choice, gratitude over bitterness, presence over avoidance. Slowly, carefully, they went home and began to redecorate the spare room. Not for an imagined child, but for the life they were determined to protect and nurture. 2 years later, their redemption did not arrive through a pregnancy test, but through a phone call from an adoption agency. They had opened their hearts to a child who desperately needed them. When the 3-year-old girl walked through their door for the first time, with wide, fearful eyes, Clara knelt down and whispered, "You are never going to be alone again, my love." The little girl asked, trembling, "Am I alone now?" And Clara wept because she finally understood. Sometimes a child chooses a family just as much as a family chooses a child. The silent crib was transformed. Now it held giggles, toys, and the profound truth that parenthood is an act of the heart, not merely of the body. The struggle of infertility was not their failure, it was their path. The love that remained was their foundation, and the giant Jesus continues to walk alongside them, a gentle reminder that the love you choose to give is the only love that truly lives.